Yeah, it is recording.
Okay, so yesterday we have seen some difference between tools and the like pros and cons of the Tosca. And okay, today we are going to discuss some uh, and also we have seen how to install the Tosca and how to register into that. If anybody is uh, tried with the registration Presentis portal. Hello. Has anybody tried to register into the Tricentis portal?
They won't send any link.
What happened?
లింక్ సెండ్ చేయలేదు.
లింక్ కనిపించట్లేదా?
సెండ్ చేయలేదు మరి.
No, చెప్పాను కదా నేను ట్రైసెంటిస్ సపోర్ట్ డాట్ ఇక్కడికి వెళ్ళండి. సో ఇక్కడికి వెళ్ళేసి hope everyone know Telugu, right? I mean only few one or two. Yeah.
సార్ అంటే మేమే రిజిస్టర్ చేసేసుకోవచ్చా వాళ్ళకి
Yes.
కన్సల్ట్ అవ్వమన్నట్టు?
ఎస్ మీరే చేసుకోవచ్చు. ఇక్కడికి వెళ్ళాలి ఫస్ట్ ట్రైసెంటిస్ support.com లోకి వెళ్తే ఇక్కడ క్లిక్ ఆన్ లాగిన్ కొట్టినప్పుడు లేదు రిజిస్టర్ వచ్చేస్తుంది. సో క్లిక్ ఆన్ రిజిస్టర్. ఇక్కడికి వెళ్ళి మీరు డీటెయిల్స్ ఇచ్చేసి రిజిస్టర్ చేసుకోండి. ఓకేనా?
ఓకే, ఇక్కడ వరకు కంప్లీట్ అయిన
వన్స్ ఇట్ ఈస్ రిజిస్టర్డ్, whenever you are trying to install your Tosca, right? So the management team will ask you your user ID and password.
Okay.
Just give it to them your user ID and password. So they will
we need to keep new mail ID and password only, no sir, need to use.
Yeah, only mail ID and password.
Official
So
mail ID.
Business email ID means you can give your Gmail ID and those things, not an issue there. Okay. So if anyone want to create the new email ID for Gmail, so you can create a new Gmail ID, give that email ID and password. Okay. So once it is registered, you can whenever the management asks you to install the Tosca, so that time you can provide these details. So they will put you into the server, then they will give you access to your Tosca itself. Then only you will access. So before that, you just get ready with this registration part.
I think it will ask company details also, right?
You can give anything.
Yeah.
You can give anything. Say it's not mandatory like wherever you are working into the company. So you can give anything. That's not an issue. Okay. Yeah. So today we'll be discussing some like so the structure we have seen yesterday, right? So the basic overview of the Tosca and the structure we have seen, and we will be seeing some like before going to the Tosca. So everything we define for some best practices, right? So can anyone tell me, so what are the best practices for the manual testing? For any task, we define some best practices. If we are going with the some manual testing or the automation testing, right? So we will be, I mean, go with some best thing which we according to our project. So what are the things we need to be defined into the project? So if any manual testing, so what are the best practices for manual testing? Hope everyone knows the manual testing, right? I think only few are not knowing the testing, but most of the people know manual testing, right? Hello.
What exactly you mean by best practices?
So best practices in the means if you are going with any tool or if you are going with any process, what kind of the process you are going to stick with that. Okay. So for
manual
example,
testing, what process we follow?
yeah, what process or what like best practices you need to stick with the manual testing. What
Uh, fir- First, we need the functional design for a project or any use stories like that.
right.
We should have idea what we'll be testing first and
Mm,
background and all these things.
right.
Also for this, for example, if you go for Salesforce, there will be so many integrations with it. For example, SAP, XI, and Salesforce. So many integrations with it. First, we should have more idea on that one, and then we
Right.
should start for testing. And first, we need to write test scripts based on that, and then we can test for manual testing.
Right. So whenever you are, I mean, going with the manual testing, so basically you required some creation of strong test design documents, right? So and also you will, I mean, having the frequent communications with the team, some like testing team with the developers, to testing team can have face-to-face communication for having these so better understanding of the product and the requirement specifications. Like it is like it's important to communicate the discussions using written communications, always like emails, exchanging the documents, right? And also like you have the like some test on multiple platforms. You can create some browser matrix, should have the must for testing any type of the application. So those things you might be, I mean, following some of the standards you need to be designed, like testing real-time scenarios. So the for the application of your perform best thing. So it is very important to fulfill these requirements of the customers, right? So likewise, for automation testing also, we will be, I mean, stick with the some following some best practices for each and every section. Okay. So for that, so we have some matrices have been created. Okay, for each and every section. Let me put this on top. Okay, for each and every section we will have some certain kind of best practices we design. So what exactly we will be following some standards, like if you see in Selenium or if you see in UTP as well, there are some best practices you will follow, right? Some function script you need to be designed and driver script you need to be designed, and the naming convention should be in the same format of your throughout the project. There should not be any like empty folders has been created, like recovery scenario has been placed into the proper places, and those things you need to be, I mean, design if you go with the automation perspective, right? The same thing for the Tosca also. So if you look at the some like best practices for the general, so throughout the project, so you can define like use naming conversation throughout the entire project. So if I use this naming conversation throughout the project, what will be the benefit of for the project? Okay. So the benefit is like common naming convention helps you to keep your project is readable and make it is easy to find your artifacts. Okay, so if you use the naming convention, like I have like 10 models. So if I use the 10 models with a different name, so it will not be, I mean, doesn't know some of the people who are working into the project or who are recently joined into the project, they doesn't know where these things, I mean, related to the your test cases and related to your model, right? So if you use the naming conversation throughout the project itself, it helps you to keep your project is readable and make it easy to find your artifacts into the folder structure, right? So the folder structure also you need to be, I mean, follow. So the structure to arrange the artifacts. So by using the structure, your repository, you will have better overview of your project and will more easily to locate your artifacts. So you need to define some folder structure into the project. Okay, so according to the project, you can put your test cases or models into the particular folder itself to identify easily into your models and the test cases. And also we have some so going forward, I will show you so how we are going to create these modules. Okay, but we have some defined folder structures in the real time. So in most of the companies, like 90%, 99%, the people will use the same structure, okay, in Tosca. So use these three stages like in work module, ready for approval and approved, and one more also you have the rejected. Okay, so each and every folder you maintain into the repository. Okay, so in work, ready for approval and approved. So it helps clarify responsibility into the artifacts to create an artifact that are fully ready for the use. Because when you are start working onto the like in work module, so when you are start working onto the any test cases, you just be start writing into the in work module. So in work module is you are able to start working onto the particular test case or particular module. Okay, so once your construction of test case has been completed, then you can move your test cases for the ready for approval. Okay, it means once you are done, you are sending for review itself. So once it is reviewed, so then you are moving your test cases into approved state. So this is the, I mean, process in most of the company will, I mean, follow these standards itself. So ready for approval, in work and the approved. And in between, so any of the folder structure, you no need to, I mean, don't create any empty folders in that. So make sure that there will not be any empty folders has been created. And in that in that creation of reusable tester blocks and reusability. So RTB is reusable tester blocks is a some like it's a one of the most important topic into the Tosca. So whenever there is a, I mean, reusable test cases, you may feel it, so you can create as a reusable test blocks, and then you can reuse those test cases into your different test cases. So only one time you create your test cases and reuse it into multiple times into different test cases. Like in Selenium or QTP, you create some functions, then whatever you created the functions, you can reuse it into your script. You can call those functions into your scripts, right? The same way you can create your test cases, then you can reuse it into multiple test cases. So you can create some test configuration parameters. So test configuration parameters, nothing but like some specific values you are applying into the test cases. Let's say, for example, so when I creating the test cases, so I don't want to, I mean, invoke my browser. Okay, so I want to tell Tosca to, by default it will be invoke my browser, then it execute my test cases. For that, so I am telling Tosca to just, I'm applying some specific value to the test configuration parameter, like browser is equal to whatever the browser I required, like Internet Explorer or like Chrome. I just specify there itself. So when I run my test cases, so by default it will be whatever the browser I specified, it will be applied to the particular test case. Okay, so some test case design and test case section also we have some best practices. Okay, so create test case should contain the following folders like preconditions, post conditions, like in workflow, and the like one is validations. So whenever you create these folders, in work folder, ready for approval, and approved folder, under this under this each folder you can create these things. Okay, so like preconditions, post conditions, and process. So this is the structure you need to be follow throughout the project itself, not only for the one section. Okay, the same section you can follow for the modules as well. For the modules, you know, to create this precondition, post condition, and process, you just create the only folder structures in the module section. The same thing when you are working with the TCD also, you can create some so structured view. So like precondition, post condition, and validations, those things you need to design in test case and test case design section as well. So every test case should have at least one verification point. So whenever you are like creating a test cases, there should be some validations, right? So it's not like you are feeding the data from external um, Excel or external like TCD test case design section. So whenever you are feeding the data or hard coding the data into the test cases, there should be a case like you should have at least one verification point into the test cases. So and whenever you are working like, so there is a one there is a section called work state. So in that work state you will have the planned work and completed. So whenever you are start working onto the test cases, you should be you should be like it should be in work state. When you are start working, it should be into the in work state. So once your test cases has been completed, so you can change the test cases completed itself. So if it is planned in the cells, you are not yet started onto the test cases. Okay, so those are the work states we have into the Tosca. So we will see those things and all this. The naming, so whatever the naming you are giving to the module, so you can give the same naming conversation to the test cases as well. And the test steps, in order to make it readable, you match with the action. So for example, I am going to click on the login link. Okay, I'm just click on the login. So I don't want to, I if you mention like login on the test case name, it's login. So you might be confusing what is the action it is performing that. So while seeing itself, you should be knowing that. So click on the login. So once I click on the login, okay, it is the Tosca is going to click onto the particular login button itself, login link itself. So you might be understanding this way. So when you are keeping your test cases, you should be like make it readable, those things. Okay, so these are the some best practices we have designed. We will share this sheet as well, so you can go through whenever you are start working under the Tosca itself. So each and every section we have created some best practices. So then in Tosca, so whenever you install the Tosca, you just open the Tosca like this. Either you can type Tosca. So you can, once Tosca commander appears, click on the Tosca commander. Okay. So once it is, launch the Tosca, you can, whatever the workspace you have created, you just click on that workspace. So there it will ask you the user ID and password. So once it is there, click on login. So once your application is launched, you are into the workspace, you can create a folder structure. Okay. So as I explained you, you should be following these folder structure throughout the project itself. Okay. So here when you are like, okay, here when you are, launch the Tosca, you see this checkout tree is disabled. So if I right click on that, so I cannot see any of the folders here, right? So I cannot able to create any folder here. It means so everything is checked out now. Okay, go to home. So everything is checked out. So whenever you are, starting your day, whenever you start logging into the your network, your job. So whenever the first thing you have to do is update all. Okay, so you have to take the update on. So if you want to check out anything, okay, so if I want to check out this particular folder, go here, right click, either you click on this, okay, check out, or you can do this one also, check out also. So once you clicking on that, you see there is a green color icon mark is appeared here. It means you have checked out this particular folder. If you are check out this particular folder, the other person cannot be accessing your team. Okay, so make sure that, so I am going to check in again. Okay, so this one, check in all. So once you done completion of your work, you can click on check in all. Okay, so it means your code has been checked into the particular repository. Okay, so whenever the other persons want to work on this particular folder, they will take update all. Okay, and they will access this particular folder again. So if some other person is access to the particular folder, you cannot be access the same folder itself. Okay, make sure whenever you are checking checkout as doing into the real time. Okay, so for example, if you are doing the checkout tree, so checkout tree is nothing but, so when you done the checkout tree, it means whatever this under test cases, whatever the folders under this test cases, everything has been checked out. Okay, so it means no one can access the folders. Okay, you make sure that, so whenever you are working under the particular folder, only that particular folder you can check out. Okay, so don't do checkout tree on the root folder itself until and unless you require. If you want to do the checkout, you just check with the other team members, then you do the checkout. Okay, so this is also applicable to the entire sections like module requirement, test case design and execution. So don't do checkout tree every time. So that is very, very, very important thing. So when you are working into the multi environment. Okay, so now I am going to create one folder structure here. So under the test case, okay, I'm under the test case. So I am going to create a one folder structure like, okay, So for example, this is I am going to create my name. Okay, so in the real time it will be like this only. Okay, for example, you may assume that this is a project under the test case. Okay, so under that, you each and every person have the folder structures. Okay, name Venkat, Prashant, Ajay. Okay, like that. So under that, sorry, so first thing is like you will have the in work model, in work. Okay, then you have the pending for approval. Okay, and you create approved, and also you have the rejected. Okay, so under that, okay, so under that you have the name Venkat, Prashant. Okay, so likewise whatever your teammates name, so it will be there into the each and every folder. So if you are going to work on this particular, I mean your task, you can create a some test case under that. Okay, okay, my test case is like demo web shop. Okay, so likewise under this test case you can create some folders, precondition. Okay, and in workflow, under that you have the validations. Okay, you can have one more folder called post condition. Okay, so this is the structure you need to follow whenever you are creating a test case. Okay, so for example, tomorrow you are coming come and work onto the to access the particular folder. So just come here and just check out, or you can do checkout because we are the only person accessing to the particular folder, right? So if you are doing that, so it will be you can access all the files into the particular respective folder. Okay, when this is the complete structure you need to follow. So when you are creating the test cases, so whatever the precondition is required, you can add the precondition into the your precondition folder, and any workflow, so you need to be design the workflow, so you just mention the workflow. Any validations kind of things, you can put the validations like verifications, validations, those things. And once it is done, so you can put those into the post conditions, like in the post conditions logout screen or something like. So once you log out, you close the browsers, and those things should be into the post condition things. So this is the folder structure. You need to follow the same thing into the modules as well. Okay, so as I have shown you yesterday, so we have the different kind of models, standard models you have. So like basic window operations, buffer operations, file folder operations, processing operations, and also you have the extension models also will be available. So here you can see the file operations, XML when you are working onto the XMLs, and the Excel, PDF. If you are like working on the API part, the JSON file. If you want to configure the mail, so you can able to configure the mail as well. Okay, so by using this standard model, we will see these when we are working into the test cases. So once we design some test cases, we will take some standard modules, and we'll start working onto that, not to worry. So, but the thing is, I mean, whenever you are working into any of the project, okay, there should be like one process they should follow, either like SDLC or like agile methodology, right? So either like a waterfall model, like SDLC model or agile methodology. So how we are going to be implemented into the agile or waterfall model? So any idea about waterfall model, SDLC models, like agile methodology? So what exactly you do into the waterfall and the agile in SDLC? What is waterfall model? Okay.
Firstly, we design it, then implementation, and last stage is testing.
Hmm.
One second.
Okay. So basically, waterfall is like a step-by-step process. Okay. So once phase is completed, so the next phase will be started. So likewise, for example, your requirement phase is completed, then it will go to the like development requirement phase and the designing phase and the testing phase. So once your requirement phase is completed, then it will be like designing phase. So once designing phase is completed, then your testing phase will be started. Okay. So it's like a step-by-step process. Once one phase is completed, it will go to the next phase. So in agile also, like it is iterative and the incremental model. Agile is a iterative and the incremental model. It is like it's a parallel testing and the development phase will be started into the simultaneously into the agile. Okay. So what exactly how we are going to work into the agile process? Okay. So here basically in agile, so most of the people, I mean, who are working into the who are currently working onto the testing, so they know agile, right? I mean, you guys know the agile, right? So
Yes.
yeah. So basically, initially you will get the, I mean, requirements in the form of user stories from the client. Okay. So then the product owner stores all the user stories into the product backlog. So basically in the agile, you will have the roles like product owner, scrum master, and the scrum team. Okay. So
Sir, please
initially,
repeat it. I can't understand.
so in the
Agile.
agile is, yeah, agile is a iterative and incremental model that promotes the continuous integration of the development and the testing. Okay. So it means both development and testing activities are concurrent. So it means parallelly will be started into the development and the testing. Okay. So initially what happens, so basically your project is divided into sprints. Okay. Sprints in the, like it's a phase by phase, like how many test cases is going to the one particular sprint. So each sprint you will have the some deadlines. Okay, like 2 weeks of the sprint or 3 weeks of the sprint. So some people will follow when the automation part will go into the same sprint, or will they will be, I mean, like minus one sprint also, like, so whatever the sprint they are going into the next sprint automation scripts. Okay. So some companies will follow like that, depends, completely depends on the project itself. So the process here in agile is like, so initially the product owner got the business requirements in the form of user stories. Okay. So he will get the requirements from the client. Okay, so once he got the requirements, I mean user stories, he stores all the user stories into the product backlog. Okay, and he prioritized those user stories once he got the user stories from the client. So okay, that's fine, he got all the user stories and he got all the requirements. So the next step into the agile is, so he set up a one meeting. Okay, so that is called a sprint planning meeting. So in that, the entire team will be discussing about the user stories. Okay, so they will discuss the user stories. Okay, and they do the estimations here. So basically how you are going to do the estimations, in how you are going to calculate the ROI into the for the automation part. Okay, so whenever you are doing the estimations, you should be keep it in mind that, so the schedule and the resources which you have and skilled people and the time of your um, deadline of your sprint. Okay, based on that you can give the estimations. Here in ROI has to be calculated based on the, like, so basically ROI is the number of weeks for which ROI is to be calculated. So this is basically divided by 8 for the manual effort, and divided by 18 is the automation effort. Okay, so here we have some certain formulas to be calculated into the estimations. So basically, for example, if you want to automate the test scripts execution time. Okay, so okay, test script execution time. So this is basically hourly automation test per test. Okay, the number of test cases for 18. Okay, so it is calculated, there are some certain formulas you will have into the ROI, so when you are doing the estimation. So this is the automation time per test into uh, number of automated test cases. Okay, so this is by 8 for the manual effort. So when you are calculating the automation, like likewise, like automated test analysis time and automated test maintenance time, so automated test script execution time. So this is also, there are some certain formulas like this. So you can see it in the Google. I mean, when you are calculating the ROA, you might know, or most of the companies will not follow the same thing. So they will be, I mean, based on that things, they will be, I mean, calculated the estimations as well. So once he got the requirement, he do the estimations. Okay, so once he done the estimations, we will be prioritizing those user stories and send put them into the sprint backlog. Okay, so you have the sprint backlog and the product backlog. So once, like in between you have any clarifications about the user stories, you will be, I mean, get clarified with the scrum master. Okay, if
Sir, what is
some,
pinned backlog? One second.
hello.
Sir, what is that is pinned backlog?
So sprint backlog, okay, first of all I will explain you the product backlog. So product backlog is a list of new features. Okay, so it is like this list of new features, changes to existing features, any bug fixes will be included into the product backlog, like any changes, infrastructure changes or any other activities that a team may deliver in order to achieve a specific outcome. So that is called a product backlog. Sprint backlog is like a list of tasks. Okay, the list of tasks identified by the Scrum team to be completed during the sprint. Okay, so it means like a just tasks to be identified to be completed into the particular sprint itself. That is nothing but a sprint backlog.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So yeah, so once it is done, so then all the estimations, like all the estimation is done, so you understood the functionality, then you start executing, you start creating your test cases. So here there are two cases. Okay, so you will get the test cases from the manual team, so you will be identifying those test scenarios which we are going to be automated those things. Else you can write some from the scratch. That depends on the project, then how the team is formed into the your current organization. So that depends on that. So once you get the test cases from the manual team, so you are going to be automate those test scripts. Okay, so you can, here you need to like, if the development is been completed. Okay, so if the development is completed, then well and good. So like you go here and create a module, then you drag and drop onto the test cases and build the logic of your test cases. Okay, if in certain time, if you want to give the application into the same sprint, okay, if you give the changes into the same sprint, so that times you may not achieve, sometimes you may not achieve your testing, completing the your automation part, right? So in that case, to save the time, first thing you need to identify the test cases, so based on the requirement, then you need to be design the test case design section here. Okay, so once you design the test cases, so once your the developer has been done coding part, you just whatever you done here, you just drag and drop onto the particular test case. Okay, so here I am going to drag and drop onto the particular test case. So it means whatever you design here, so it will be reflected into the test case itself. Okay, so it means you are saving your time, then you create your module, then on that you apply onto the test kits itself. So it's like a continuation of your execution. You are like saving your time. Okay, so after this, after 2 weeks of the time, after 2 weeks of the sprint, you have a like sprint review meeting. Okay, so in that, so we will be discussing about what the product owner declares, which items are completed and which are not to be completed. Those things will be discussed into the sprint review meeting. Okay, so after that, so you will have the sprint retrospective meeting. So it means like, so what are the mistakes you have done into the particular sprint, so what are the things you are going to learn into the next sprint, so how we are going to prevent those which we are done the mistakes into the earlier sprints. It's just like a lesson to learn those mistakes from the previous sprints itself. So this is completely like agile methodology. So when you are working under the agile, so you should be working like this. Okay, and also you have to mm, the process of the Tosca, so will be like this. Okay, so first, what how the basic workflow will be like. So first you need to design the requirement. Okay, workflow. Okay, First thing you need to design the requirement. Okay, so the thing is, here you need to add your requirements under the requirement section. Okay, so once you add the requirements, the next step will be like test case design section. Okay, so based on the requirement, you need to be identifying your attributes, and based on the data is required to the particular attribute, you can create some instances. Then you get ready for your testing. Okay, then so once it is done, then you scan your model. Okay, then once you scan your model, you create your test cases. Create your test cases based on the module is identified. Okay, then the next step will be convert your test cases into template. Okay, so convert your test cases into template by using some test case optimization techniques. Okay, you can it will be like library RTV conditions, like if conditions, else, do while, and configuration parameters. You can use it to convert your you can use it into the test cases. Okay, so once you convert your test cases into template, so then instantiate to get bigger coverage based on your test case design. Instantiate. Okay, instantiate to coverage based on the test case design. Okay, so the next step will be, so once you instantiate it, then you can run your test cases. It means you can execute your test cases. Okay, then you analyze the results. Okay, then so once in, then whatever the failures you identified, report it. Okay, report the issues. So this is the basic workflow of the Tosca. So we will see, so one sample application. So I just want to show you how the Tosca will run your test cases. Okay, I will show you one sample thing. So here I am going to create one module folder like demo web shop.
Sorry to interrupt, Venkat. Can
Hmm.
you start from the first, like design requirements under,
Start from the requirements.
yeah, from the requirements section. You can start all these steps, all the workflow steps.
No. So if I start from the requirements, you might be confusing that, because there are a lot of things has to be do into the requirement section. Okay. So if you want to do, so this one I will explain you later, because this one everything will be linked to the execution. Okay, and the test case section. Okay, so here basically you can write, you can design your requirements. Okay, you can create a folder. Okay, like demo web shop. Okay, so under that you can create them requirement set. Okay, so requirement is like my login application. Okay, so under that, okay, so under that you can create um, a requirement. So my requirement is like valid user name and valid password. Okay, so likewise you can create you can create the requirements under this. So here like requirement 2, requirement 3, likewise you can create the requirements into the requirement section. So here you see okay, here you see when you are created the requirement, there is a frequency class and the damage class and the weightage, okay, the contribution of the coverage space contribution percentage, okay, and the execution state. So these things will be, these two columns will be related to your test case. This is for the test case and this is for the execution. So whenever you link your test cases, whatever you created your test cases, the percentage, the coverage specification percentage and the execution state will be calculated according to your execution state. So how many test cases is linked to the particular requirement, how much percentage has been completed here. So this will be, I mean, discussed very clearly. So after your test case and the execution section has been completed, so I will come back to the requirement section. Is that fine, right? So here you can define the weightage of your requirements. For example, this my validation user, valid user and password is very much important. So I can give the some weightage. So here, once you've done that, you can update outdated values. See, based on that, the column contribution percentage has been updated. So based on the weightage of the requirement. So these things will be discussed very detailed in later classes. So if I go with these things, then you might be, I mean, confused when you are working on that. Okay. Yeah. So here I just want to show you to how to scan and how to run the how we can build the test case. Some sample test case I'll show you. So here, so once you open your application, okay, so basically the thing is, whenever you are, I mean, scanning your application, you just make sure that your zoom level should be 100%. So that depends on your appearance of your, I mean, these things. Okay, so your browser should be like 100%. You have to maintain that. Okay, so here you just right click whatever the folder you have created, just right click here, click on the scan, then you see the applications. Okay, so here you can see the applications. So once you click on these applications, it will be identified whatever the applications is open on my desktop. Okay, so the Xscan window will be identified. You see, whatever the application is opened into my desktop, so it will be identified. Okay. So these many applications has opened into my desktop. So I am selecting whatever the application I am going to work on that. Okay, I selected this. Okay, then I selected my application. Yeah, selected this demo web shop. Click on the scan. So the moment you click on the scan, so whatever the objects is for the web page, it will be identified here. Okay, so whatever the objects there into the in the web page, it will be identified based on the some identified by properties. Okay, so you can see identify properties, there are some properties are available into this section. Representation, technical, transition parameters, those things. So those things we'll discuss detail very later classes. Okay, so here I'm just going and identifying some object. So when click on to the select on the screen, so the moment you click on the select on screen, so whatever the objects you want to identify, you can able to select it. Okay, so once you've done that, you just again click on the select on screen. Okay, then you can see, so whatever the objects have been identified from the web page, in the bottom you can see the selected item is unique. Okay, if the object is not unique, so it will be appear into the orange color. Okay, so like this, I will show you. I will scan again and I click on books. See, it means my object is not uniquely identified. Okay, so if in order to make the object is unique, you have to be go with some other options. So we will see in later classes that one. So as of now, I just want to uncheck this. Okay, so I'm going to save this module. Once it is scanned, then I just close it. Okay, so the moment you close that scanning window, the module has been saved here. Okay, so whenever you have been created a model, go to the title. Okay, go to the title. Okay, you just change it to dynamically, so you add some wildcard character to make the title is unique, because so whenever you are working for the register, so the title is will be changed, like demo website dot register, or when I click on this login link, so it will be changed demo webshop dot login. Okay, so that means if you are not making it is a dynamically, like adding the wildcard character, your script might be fail. So in that case, I have added some wildcard character to make the title is unique. Okay, so once it is done, okay, into the test case also, here you have created a one folder, right? So demo web shop. So you just drag and drop these test cases into test here. Okay, so in workflow, I'm drag and drop into the workflow itself. Okay, so here once you drag and drop, so simple, you want to drag and drop the test case itself. If you want to click on the register link, you just see click. So that's it. So whenever I run this application, so see, so it will go and click on the register. So run on Scratchbook. Okay, so it will go and click on the register page. So simple. I'm not writing any programming here, so everything will be into the Tosca itself. So whatever the operations you are doing here, so it will go and click. So but you need to be identify the objects is uniquely when you are doing creating the module. Okay, so this way the Tosca will work. So from next class onwards, we will go and discuss how we are scanning the application. So what are the applications we can able to scan those things, and in the scanning window, what are the types you can see into the scanning window, and how many ways we can able to identify the methods. Those things we will be discussing into the next classes. Clear?
Yes, one doubt we get on this
Yeah.
scan. You're telling no need to write test cases in Tosco. What I mean like that?
No need to write test cases.
Yeah. It will write its own test cases from Tosca inbuilt, I think so, no?
No. What I mean to say is we no need to write any programming here. Okay, just what I did is I just created a one object. I mean, I created a one module here. The Tosca will be works on based on the modules. Okay, so once you have been identify the objects, so based on that, you just drag and drop this module onto the test case itself. Okay, so under this folder, I have drag and drop. So whatever I'm doing the operations, I'm just giving the operations. I'm telling Tosca to click on the register link. Okay, so that's what when I run this application, so it will go and click on to the particular link itself. It will identify the objects based on the module, okay, which we have created. If there is no module, so your script will not be work. So that, and also you can write some manual test cases also. So you can create some manual test cases. You create a test case, then under that you see create a manual test step. Okay,
Okay.
so under that you can create a one manual test step value itself. So um, yesterday I have told you the structure of the test cases, right? So you will have the folders. Under the folder you will have the test case. Under the test case you will have the test step value. Okay, so there you can define, so what is the test step you are going to be performing. Okay, here I am performing like click operations, but how the module will be identified even if I performing the manual test cases? For that you should have the module as well. So instead of module, without the module you will not be able to click onto the particular link.
Okay.
So these
For
things I will
example,
yeah.
for example, if we have application like Salesforce, in that objects will be there, no accounts and cases, opportunities will be there. No? In that also it will scan and it will be there, no, in test
Yeah,
cases.
you
That
have
objects
the
are
like, yes, ready. You have the some Salesforce scan also. So when you are working
okay.
on the Salesforce, you go with this option Salesforce scan, then you identify your objects. So based on that, you
Okay.
can create your test cases.
Okay.
Okay. So and also like I'll show you one thing, and shift right click then scan. You can see these many things when you are scanning, like API scan, mobile scan, PDF scan, and like if you are going with the more options, you can see Salesforce file legacy scan. Legacy scan is nothing but when you are creating some X-Engine models. I told you some there are two modules are available, right? One is T-Box and one is the X-Engine modules. So by using legacy scan, you can create your X-Engine X modules as well. X-Engine module, classical modules. Okay.
Oh,
So when you are working with the web applications, you go with the HTML options. Okay. So when you are working with the, desktop applications, you go with the .NET engines. So desktop applications generally will be developed on the .NET engines. Okay. And if any UI related, so you just go with the UI scanning. So there are features will be available the way how you are scanning and designing your test cases. Okay.
okay.
Any doubts before wrap up this class?
Yeah, Venkat, can you also show like dot send keys method here?
Can you speak a bit louder, please?
Can you show dot send keys method here?
Dot
Send keys like input.
send keys, is it?
Yeah.
Send keys, we have a class, so separate class by using the send keys. So we will be discussing, there is some separate modules are available, T-Box send keys options. So by using this standard model, so we will be going to see so how we are going to put your keyboard commands into the test cases. So there is some separate class we have. So again, I think I just want to explain these things after like after a week actually. So we will see. So as soon as when we are working under the syndicate itself. Okay. that's it for today class. So is everything is fine, right? So no more questions. Okay, then. So tomorrow will be the holiday. So Saturday for this first week of this batch. So I will be take you to off. So we'll see on Monday. So from next week onwards, every Saturday we will be conducting one reverse demo. Okay. So whatever we have discussed, so any of some persons so will come and give the some reverse KT, so that we can also understand so how much you are able to understood, how much you are able to practicing that. So if you are doing any mistakes, so we will be guiding you. So and also we will be discussing some interview questions, so how we are going to crack those interviews for this particular topics and those things. So we will be discussing on to the Saturday. So this reverse demo will be coordinated by Prashant. Okay, so whatever the doubts or whatever the information you require, so you just Prashant contact with the Prashant, so he will be guiding you about the information about the classes or about the information about the installations and reverse demo, those things. Whatever you have the doubts, you just contact with the Prashant. So Prashant is our one of the team into the institute. Okay, so he's also working now, so you just contact with him. Okay, so thanks a lot. So we'll meet on Monday. So we will start proper theoretical part will start on Monday itself. Okay.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
thank
you.
you.